Good evening, folks. Welcome to the weekly Ichimoku wrap with CloudChartist on Sunday, August 23rd. Going over the week ending August 21st. You'll notice I started on coffee. If you watch my daily wrap up, you'll notice that I ended with coffee, and I happen to be starting with coffee here. Coffee on the weekly, pretty interesting. Got a close over the Tenkan-sen the prior week, and then last week got rejected by the Kijun-sen, as I suggested might happen. Surprisingly, did not hold the Tenkan-sen and closed on the lows below the Tenkan-sen. So coffee is bearish in all ways, Ichimoku. All right, now that we've gone to something not that major, we will go to some major, such as the ES. So there are going to be some scary charts. All right, so looking at ES on the weekly, I was hoping that we would hold the weekly cloud top, but we did not. That was around 1998, 1999. We did not get to party like it's 1999. We closed inside the cloud, and but notice the Chikou over here, this red line representing price time shifted 26 periods into the past, or 26 weeks into the past on the weekly chart. We see that the Chikou is going to come into Kijun-sen support just around about, let's say 1961, thereabouts. So I would not be surprised, and I'm not making any market prediction here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this week put in a little spike down to the bottom of the cloud around 1959, 50, 1959, 75, 1959, thereabouts, and then find some buyers, and then end up remaining inside the cloud, potentially testing the top of the cloud back at 2003, thereabouts. Of course, if we do trade lower and below, say, 1959, then that would currently price is neutral for the ES in Ichimoku terms. I know it feels really bearish, but we just went from being bullish to neutral when we lost the top of the cloud and closed inside the cloud. So this is just really a reversion to mean, reversion to equilibrium in Ichimoku terms. You notice that the cloud is still rising, so there's no reason, as far as the cloud is concerned, to suggest that the trend is changing from on the weekly time from long-term uptrend to anything else yet. So it's key to see whether we can hold that 1959, 1960 level. We could sell under the cloud also, and then put in a close above the cloud. Of course, we're talking about the weekly candle here, so lots of stuff could happen intra-week, but the close is really important. So neutral in Ichimoku terms, and keep an eye on that 1959, 1960 level for a potential bounce. Let's look at crude. Crude closing on the lows, and bearish in all ways. Ichimoku closed just slightly off the lows, actually, but the fact that it held the 40 level is significant. It's not bullish, but it did seem that 40 was pretty well supported, just watching the intraday trading last week on Friday. So we'll see. But until we put in a higher high and a higher low, we're still bearish in all ways, Ichimoku on crude. Let's look at the Russell. This is a beautiful Ichimoku chart. You can see that what happened is the Russell, after the last week's candle looked like a potential reversal candle. We did try to reverse. We came up hit the Tenkan-sen and sold off. And we sold all the way down to, let's see, the low was 1149.30, which is just about the level of the cloud. Well, the cloud is around 1150, but you see that the Chikou closed above the cloud, and I'm over here looking at the Chikou area of the cloud, not the area where we actually went into the cloud. So the Chikou did close above the cloud, so that's kind of significant because it tested below the cloud and then closed above the cloud. So that's pretty interesting. And we do have a pretty decent little bottoming tail. It's not giant, but it is a tail on the Russell on the weekly time frame. So it'd be interesting. So currently the Russell is neutral in Ichimoku terms on the weekly time frame. It'd be interesting to see if we can get back above the cloud. That would be around 1164 on the new candle on the Russell. Let's look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq didn't even make it to the cloud yet, so the Nasdaq is still fully, well, not fully, the Nasdaq is still bullish in Ichimoku terms. If we do see further selling, the new candle will be over here, so we can expect it to find support potentially at 4162.35, 4162.25. That is where the cloud currently is at. If we do not find support at that level, then the Chikou can come down and find support all the way down at 40.75, thereabouts. But right, so if we do find buyers, the Nasdaq doesn't have resistance really. It has, I would say, you could find some horizontal resistance around 43.55 area, 43.56, 43.60 area, and then at the Tenkan-sen above at 44.37.50. Let's look at the Dow. Thought it was real funny. So over the weekend, I'm sure that you guys had similar experiences interfacing with members of the public who don't trade. I found a lot of people telling me like that the market crashed 500 points, which I'm presuming that they were talking about the Dow, but geez, the Dow, the YM was down 480 just on Friday, right? So the market was down a lot more than 500 Dow points over the week. So I think that, I don't know what kind of media Kool-Aid people are drinking, but you know, we'll see. I mean, it seems like people are just starting to get wind of the fact that the market's been selling off, like retail type people. So we'll see what happens, but this is bearish, obviously, under the cloud. Much more bearish than the other charts that we saw. And the Chikou did not hold the top of the cloud. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the Dow. We'll see. If we do get a bounce, we do have flat cloud above, but the cloud is still rising. So you know, the cloud itself is still bullish, but we need price action to move back towards the cloud and get back into the cloud in order to see any bullish progress. So we need to get back over 17,000, like ASAP. All right, and let's look at gold. I got denied on my weekly gold call. You see, I was expecting that price would hold 1152.20, the weekly Kijun-sen, and then at the end of the day, the dollar really tanked and gold picked up and moved a lot higher. But you know, that 1152 area was really good. Saw a lot of rejection. So right now, gold is still bearish under the cloud. And it stopped right at this prior support level also, that, you know, that 11, let's see, this was 1157.90, so 1158, which is pretty much where it stopped also. So we'll see if prior support has turned resistance, and if indeed gold gets rejected at this level. If not, it could go higher, maybe back to 1200. That would be interesting. But until gold gets over the cloud, like over 1240 thereabouts, you won't find me getting bullish. gold. Let's look at silver. Silver looking less bullish than gold on the weekly time frame, although we did get a close slightly over the Tenkan-sen. The Tenkan-sen is at 15.28. We got a close 15.32, so 4 cents above the Tenkan-sen on silver. That's really important level, the 15.28 level. If we get below the 15.28 level, we can expect silver to be a short. We did see a lot of sellers in these last two weekly candles. We got some decent topping tails going on there. So relative weakness compared to, actually, oh, never mind. I was for a second I thought I was looking at the wrong chart when I was telling you about how gold got a bit into the afternoon on Friday, but it did actually get a bit into the afternoon on Friday. All right, let's look at some treasuries. Let's look at the 30-year. So last week, the 30-year put in a potential, a long leg doji, which I thought could be a potential reversal candle, at least down to the Kijun-sen below. And indeed, we did test the Kijun-sen and then put in a pretty bullish bounce off the Kijun-sen, but closed just slightly above the prior high of last week's candle, which was 160.22. Oh, we actually closed, sorry, we closed below. We got up to 160.23. Wow. So last week we put in a candle that was one tick higher than the prior week. That's pretty interesting. So the uptrend is intact, but it's interesting that we couldn't get higher than that, I think, anyway. We see that level is a problem previously, also back in March. So I found that there was some relative, I don't know, that bonds were not performing as well as perhaps they should have been for the amount of bearishness in the market last week. So going forward, we can expect 157 to hold as support. For ZB, if we lose that 157 level, that's when bears can start getting excited for a move down to around 154.03, the flat Tenkan-sen below. The Tenkan-sen actually is not quite flat right now. You can see it has a slight tip up. I can zoom in. We can look at that a little bit closer. See how this blue line is moving slightly up. It's not quite flat. If it does go flat and we do find selling below the 157 Kijun-sen, then we can expect price to be attracted down. Otherwise, if we do go higher, we can look at the 162.27 level as potential target, which was a prior support and resistance level, and maybe even new highs if we continue the bearishness in the world markets. Let's look at the 10-year. It's interesting. This says I'm offline, but I am not offline. Pardon, bear with me. I'm just refreshing my. All right, I'm refreshing my own feed of my broadcasts. Looking at the ZN, the 10-year Treasury note futures on the weekly, we see that we put in a very bullish break above the cloud and above my downtrend line. So I basically gave up on trying to short this once we got above the cloud around 127.27. Although I did get some good intraday shorts on Friday on the weekly time frame. This is very bullish for the 10-year. And overall in Ichimoku terms, it's completely bullish, except for the fact that the cloud is going sideways, and that doesn't really suggest uptrend. That suggests sideways. So we're going to need to see more bullish momentum upside momentum in order for the cloud to start moving upwards. But we have the cloud drawn out almost till December here. And December gets quite narrow, so it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens with ZN going into the fall, into the holidays, and real interesting right away to see too if we can get back under the trend line. here, but from now on, for now, it's bullish. Ichimoku terms. What else? Let's look at the dollar. Or let's attempt to look for the dollar. Look at the dollar. Well, we're not getting any data from TOS. That's interesting. Well, TOS doesn't want to give me any more data right now. It's possible that they're doing an update. This time on Sunday afternoons, there's frequently some kind of update going on, so they sometimes load new stuff right before the markets open, which causes problems for getting data on historical data this time of day. So I'm going to just end the broadcast for now. And thank you for joining me. Please do feel free to make comments, ask questions, etc. I'd love to know if you are finding my videos helpful. Just give me a little holler, either on my Twitter, on Ticker TV, or on my YouTube page. You feel free to leave a comment or a like. Good luck trading this week. Be careful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.